Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by our Patreon subscriber, Joe Marshall. You can follow him at jmarshall99 on Twitter. He's very interactive on our Facebook as well. Thank you so much for your support, Joe. Now let's talk about a movie. Another episode of Horror Movie Night. I have been working hours and hours trying to build some way to go beyond this dimension into another dimension, and all I found was two sexual deviants known as Scott and Adam. So today we are going to discuss the movie From Beyond from 1986 as picked by one of our listeners, Stephen Bay. Before we get into this, I'll give you a quick reading of the email that we received from Stephen Bay because, as we always said, we like to, if you're willing to write to us, we're willing to talk about it. So, here it is. Stephen wrote to us and he said, first, I love listening to you guys bash on suggested films, and the three of you certainly have a lot of fun doing it. Secondly, after going to Flashback Horror Weekend Con here in Chicago, I got a full-on Empire Full Moon kick. Why? I don't know. Maybe I just love torturing myself. But some of them are great. I know you guys have done Ghoulies 2, Terrorvision, Dolls, and the Puppet Master series, but I think I just watched one of their craziest. My movie suggestion is From Beyond by Stuart Gordon. I just got the Blu-ray from Scream Factory, and this thing blew my fucking mind. It's so weird and nuts. This movie has so much for you guys to talk about. Jeffrey Combs overacting, great lines, crazy gooey special effects, and of course, Barbara Crampton's assets. So, Stephen, we are going to discuss this movie for you as you have suggested. I think that email came to us in like fucking November. So, here we are, finally talking about From Beyond.
Yeah, get used to it, though, listeners, because we're so popular that it takes us 4 months to get to your picks.
That does not make a good movie. Just because Barbara Crampton and that guy is in a movie... Jeffrey Combs.
Oh, Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah. Does not necessarily make it a good movie, because this movie, not a good movie. Not a great movie.
Okay, so, as with last week, this movie kind of has the same problems as The Deadly Spawn, where it's more creature effects over an actually good script.
This is certainly better than Deadly Spawn. I will give it that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say that they're on the same level. From Beyond had probably 10 times more money behind it. But the thing, and better actors, actual actors, not people off the street. But it's still, you know, like I had seen Reanimator in like junior high or something on Sci-Fi. You know, like it was really well known, and definitely the most well known of all the Lovecraft inspired horror movies that whatever his name is did. But the problem that From Beyond has is like it's more obscure. Not because it came out and wasn't well known at the time. It's obscure because you're right. It's not a really good movie. It's really just a spectacle. It's a shit concept.
It's a bad movie, but I'm happy that I watched it. Like it wasn't.
Wait, have you never seen it before?
No, I'd never seen it before.
Okay.
And I'm certainly that I'm happy that I watched it, and I'm happy that Dr. Tinglehast because that is funny as fuck every time that anyone said it on screen. I laugh.
So I watched this one with my cousin and his wife because they're both horror movie fans. And
wait, you've seen it, right?
I had seen it before. They had never seen it before. And there was like 3 different moments where one or both of them almost threw up. Like it was, I was like, wow, this movie is really...
Is that gross?
Did you watch the normal cut or the director's cut?
Did they laugh when they heard Dr. Tinglehast?
I can't remember because I was too busy laughing. So
wait, what was the part? I think I watched the director's cut. I thought that I had the director's cut on DVD. I'd have to go look. But
so the two big
what were the parts that were the really gross parts for them?
The parts that really bugged them out was I know they were grossed out when Jeffrey Combs bit that chick in the face and sucked her eyeball out of her face and spit it out and then just started sucking the brains out. And
that was pretty gross.
And they they had a very visual, a very big reaction to when Jeffrey Combs is laying on the operating table and all of a sudden she's trying to get the lobe.
Gland starts to poke out.
Yeah, but before it pokes out, and it's just these weird close-ups with the squishing noise because we had a bit of a surround sound thing going on too, which is this movie's got some fucking gross sound effects throughout it.
Yeah, no. You hang out with some pussies. That's the problem.
Those are my cousins. so immediately, this movie. Let's discuss the movie. So Jeffrey Combs turns on the machine, and the first thing he sees is the deadly spawn sperm just kind of floating around in the air.
Oh my God. I was so mad. We watched the same movie twice.
I forgot all about those things.
At least you have to discuss this one.
They look like a weird hybrid of the deadly spawn sperm and the fucking 3D Freddy worms in Freddy's Dead that they're what give him his power, and it's those three random serpent things that fly into his chest.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Hey, I'm gonna pick that one day. I love that movie. Jeffrey Combs runs downstairs and wakes up the doctor that's living downstairs with him, and that guy just goes full Nelson crazy right out the gate, where he's just like in the same fashion in which Prince Humperdinck cranks up the machine in the Pit of Despair to its fullest level. This dude's just we're going beyond all the way, buddy, and just starts losing his fucking mind and eventually loses his head.
At what point in the movie do we get introduced to Bubba? Because I want Bubba.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there pretty quickly. I have a note that just says "this fucking lady" for that nosy ass neighbor who moves so damn. That's my favorite shot. Is her very slowly running down the stairs as Jeffrey Combs fucking books it past her.
Pushes out of the way.
She seems so benign to it. She just doesn't care. She's oh. Well, geez, I gotta go clean this shit.
It's ridiculous. I have a note that says Jeffrey Combs is an incredible actor, and I can't remember if it was legit or not.
He a pretty great over actor. That's okay to.
Yeah, let me put this forward. Do we just like Jeffrey Combs? Maybe we just because I feel like he's actually not a good actor. I feel like us horror movie night, we just love Jeffrey Combs, but he's just not.
There's something about him. I don't know. I think that he has more range than we give him credit for because, he does. Admittedly, this character and Herbert West aren't too far separated from each other. But
they're the exact same person.
But we're going to be discussing Frighteners at some point, and his character in Frighteners is completely a different character altogether. But equally,
are you sure about that?
I don't know, but I will always love the way he delivers the line, "My body is a roadmap of pain."
I feel like we like his scene chewing. We like it when he chews scenery, but. Given an actual script and an actual movie, we would be like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Actually, you know what it is, though? He's a stage actor originally, and I think that's the thing. He never stopped being, acting! You know what I mean? He never learned to, just be a normal person in the scene, so it's always he's projecting as if he needs the people in the back row to hear him.
Here I am, I'm back.
So can we talk about the best line in this movie? And it's a Jeffrey Combs line, and it is relevant. He goes, he ate him like a gingerbread man. I watched this movie maybe 2 weeks ago because I like to be a little bit ahead of the schedule, and I have been thinking about that line daily. Like I'm at work, sitting there just at my desk, and then I'm like, gingerbread man.
There's a scene, so we get introduced to Barbara Crampton and Bubba, because Bubba is the star of this fucking movie.
Yeah, no, Bubba's the best part of it.
So we get introduced to those two characters, and she wants to do a CAT scan of Jeffrey Combs' head, and that's when they see that there's a huge growth on his frontal lobe, and that's when the evil stepmom from Dolls says, "We've got to get that that tumor removed." And that's when Barbara Crampton says, "It's not the tumor," which is like, and decides that the best way. The note says, "Oh, recreate the experiment seems like a fucking awful idea, but fuck it, let's go." So that's basically what happens in this movie, is that she's convinced that Jeffrey Combs isn't crazy, and the best way to prove that is to have him go back to this house where something awful happened and he lost his fucking mind and recreate what made him lose his fucking mind. I have a note here that just says Bubba and the overdubbed apple eating, because he bites in that apple and it's like,
I know that I listen to this with headphones on. And it's like, straight in my fucking ear the whole time.
Man, that old lady's gonna be pissed. Like they're just right back where they left off. She thought she'd gotten rid of him. I have a question in here too. Did Barbara Crampton ever do a nude scene that wasn't super rapey, or is that like exclusively what her nudity clause was?
I don't know. We're gonna ask her when we go to fucking the con in March.
Is she there?
Yeah.
Is she going to be there for real?
I think.
Oh my god!
So I heard
you know what I'm going to do? No. Listen, this is what I'm going to say when I go up to her. I'm going to shake her hand and just like stare deep into her eyes and go, "Bodies change."
So I heard this story one time. On, I think it was the Reanimator commentary track, that the most uncomfortable thing that's ever happened to her was that she was at a convention signing autographs, and someone came up and was like, "Oh, I brought my own headshot," and he just handed her a computer printout of her strapped to the bed naked with the head about to go in between her crotch from Reanimator, and she's like, "I'm not signing this."
Did he come on it?
like that's the only part.
I was about to say, I thought it was going to be a picture of him coming on that picture.
Yeah.
I feel like Barbara Crampton has to have like some creepy stories about who's trying to tribute her.
Well, we're about to change things, boys. We're definitely gonna...
Oh shit! Okay, so they're sitting around the house. They've officially like turned on the machine. Things went crazy. The previous doctor was like slightly mutated at this point. He hasn't gone full mutation, but got real rapey real fast. And it's the next day. They're deciding to pack up their shit and get out of there. And Bubba's rocking this football jersey. And earlier on he talked about how he played football before becoming a cop. And
have we passed the point where they're just like, check out the old S&M outfits?
Oh yeah, no, I did skip over that. Yeah, they just happened to stumble upon the other doctor's sex dungeon that he had as a bedroom.
Yeah, they're just like, oh well, this is no big deal. It's no big deal.
Just a VCR with a tape in it of him whipping someone. Like,
I want to say two quick things about that VCR or the VHS tape, the S&M VHS tape. So that woman in the tape, great body. Never this is the only thing on her IMDb. I was looking at all on the From Beyond IMDb, and I was like, oh, what else have they been in? And I was like, oh, that naked lady in VHS tape, nothing else. Additionally, that scene is apparently what got this movie a video nasties. Like, it was a video nasty in the UK when it came out in '86.
This is a video nasty?
Just for that scene, though?
Apparently it was. For that scene. Yeah. Man, the way they had to cut out that scene originally. Like, they had to cut out them watching the tape of the S&M.
I mean, it's not really that important. You see the S&M gear, you already know that the dude's kind of fucked up. You don't have to, like, have the video.
But the UK had no fucking idea what was going on, like, 30 years ago. That's stupid.
Yeah, it's weird because you think of the UK as being, like, totally open about all that crazy shit, actually. But, so, Bubba's rocking his football jersey, and I just kept waiting for him to say, I bet you I could throw this football over that mountain. Because I love that he's just this dude living in his past glories. And also, like, the bees are kind of, like, so Bubba gets killed by a bunch of bees, and it kind of pisses me off that they couldn't at least, like, finish the job. Like, he's, like, half skeleton, half alive. And
how is that part not the one that made your cousins nauseous? Because that's, like, way grosser.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing about this that I have a lot of delight in is the chalk drawings every time they go back to the house. And it's, like, there's, like, the headless chalk drawing, and then there's, like, Bubba's chalk drawing, and it's, like, real, like, bulky in the front, and then it just gets, like, really skinny on the bottom. Probably wasn't supposed to be as funny as I found it, but whatever. So, yeah, they do this. The professor finds out a way on his side of our, like, dimensional plane to activate the machine without them having to activate it, which is basically how Bubba dies. They're all ready to leave. He turns that shit on. A bunch of bees come, attack Bubba, and he, like, full-on warps Jeffrey Combs. He's got, like, a little fucking gland that just explodes out of the front of his head. So
the pineal gland.
There we go. I'm never going to remember that. I'm just going to skip over it. And then
we haven't mentioned the whole time that we've been talking about it. The machine is called the Resonator.
Yes.
The Resonator.
And apparently, according to IMDb, the sound of the resonator turning on was sampled in the song Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys.
Huh.
Yeah, I feel like I need to re-listen that song and listen for it, because I don't know where they're talking about. So they go back to the hospital, and this is the part that kind of, like, grossed out my cousins a little bit, was, like, that gland pops out of his forehead while she's trying to remove it, and the doctor just kind of looks at this living, moving brain gland exactly like Seymour stares at Audrey 2 for the first time when it starts moving. So that gland sucks back into his forehead, and she just goes about her day. Like, someone, like, knocks on the door, and she's just like, okay, yeah, let me go check on this. Like, I feel like any other person in the medical field would be like, hold up, I need to figure out what the fuck's going on here.
Well, any other person in the medical field would be like, wow, your brain is fucked up, man. A huge fucking abscess on your brain. I really need to get, but she's just like, yeah, that's okay. That's, whatever, no big deal.
And that's why she gets her brain sucked out of her eye hole. So
Police fuck that girl.
So Jeffrey Combs goes...
Yeah, is she ever not, like, kind of an asshole in whatever movie that she's in?
It's the director's wife, too. So he's like, hey, honey, I got the perfect role for you. It's a bitch just like you.
Jesus Christ, man.
So Jeffrey Combs goes, like, batshit crazy, and Barbara Crampton's supposed to get, like, lobotomized or shock treatment. She's getting shock treatment, but she busts out, and she steals, or she just drives. It's Jeffrey Combs who steals the ambulance. They get back to the house. And then using the bomb from Alligator, she manages to blow up the machine and save everybody. I
was going to say they used the bomb from Suicide Squad, but that's okay.
And Jeffrey Combs dies. He makes it all the way to the last, like, 2 minutes of the movie. And I gotta say, other thing that's kind of nasty is Barbara Crampton jumping out that top story window and just fucking knee shatter City as she hits the ground. All right, so that was...
Also, 1, 2, 3 things. Sorry. 1, Praetorius grows his fingers extra long so that he can finger blast Barbara Crampton. You guys notice that part?
I mean, I was going to try to see if we could just skip over that, but...
No. It's the thing is, it starts where he's, like, growing his fingers bigger so he can cup her boob, but then he goes downtown. I mean, like, Barbara Crampton had to have known that there were going to be creepy fucking dudes that were like, Praetorius and the guy from Reanimator, I bet she's a total freak. No. Secondly, intro credits. Bam! fucking executive producer Charles Band. I know I'm in for a good time. Then I read the IMDb.
Wait a second. Charles Band produced this?
Yeah, he's made a handful of good movies.
He's in a lot of good and a lot of shitty movies. Yeah, like he's kind of he's like the Samuel L. Jackson of B horror. He'll do anything for a buck. So they used an entire basement full of KY jelly for that basement lamprey.
Yeah.
Like that in this movie, you know, like the big monster, which is arguably the best monster in this movie.
Yeah, that like weird worm thing.
But it is covered in like 50 gallons of KY.
Yeah, no wonder you love it. It sounds like Deadly Spawn. Man.
Do you think they actually had KY jelly in 1983? I don't know.
So that's all we got to really say about the old From Beyond. So let's talk about what we have watched this week. I'll go first because it was nothing too crazy. So after watching From Beyond, it made my cousin's wife want to watch the David Cronenberg's Fly movie because my cousin had never actually seen it, and the upset stomach parade just continued. We were going to have a guest on this show named Paul Benson. He is working on a Kickstarter campaign for a movie called Portal Poppers. Unfortunately, we were unable to actually get the connection to work for this, but he did send me this brief synopsis of his project. Portal Poppers is a new 80s-style comedy horror film that starts filming in February. It's inspired by the Pokemon Go craze and asks a simple question. What if you have to catch them all because if you don't, then they will kill you? It's the brainchild of Jerry Macalis. Not going to even try that last name. It's the brainchild of a guy named Jerry, who is the owner of Pop Culture Shock Collectibles and a former face-off contestant and a practical effects artist in horror films. The Kickstarter campaign is going on right now to help fund the film and their post-production costs, and there's some great awards available. There will be no CGI. All of the creatures are done practically. Look for Portal Poppers on Kickstarter. That's Poppers with a Z. And he also wanted to say that if he was on the show, he was going to sneak in the joke that From Beyond is like 50 Shades of Lovecraft.
All right. I watched a great movie. I watched The Vivitch. I really enjoyed it quite a bit. I can understand why I understand people's criticisms of the film. I don't actually think that any smart person would have that much trouble with the dialogue, though. Like, I feel like the people that are like, I can't understand what they're saying, might be borderline idiots. Because aside from like 2 parts in that movie, it's all pretty straightforward. I mean,
so many people talk shit about that movie, and they're just fucking ignorant.
I think here's my first thought. I think that it is a slow burn, and that's okay. Like, don't go into it thinking that it's going to be super exciting. It's about character development and dread. My problem with the entire film is that it's great until the last minute. The last minute is just stylistically wrong for the movie, in my personal opinion. Like, spoiler alert for anybody that's seen it, has not seen it. Stop listening for like the next 30 seconds. You kind of aren't sure if there is actual... Well, no. That's the thing, is people talked about it being like this visceral thing where you weren't really sure if there was supernatural stuff going on. But literally, when you see the witch for the first time, you see her fly up in the air. So, I mean, yeah, that shit actually is stupid. A stupid interpretation of the film. And in any case, so the end, the remaining character calls on the devil, and he shows up, and then the character like goes out to the Sabbath and flies, and it just doesn't, like, if they would have showed the character making the pact with the devil and then going to black, because it does that, but then there's another minute worth of the character going out to the Sabbath. If they would have kept that Sabbath part out of it, it would have been an incredibly satisfying finish, because that's all you needed to see. I feel like some Hollywood studio is like, you need some action, man. Like, have some fucking flying witches or something. Come on, we need something. And like, you know, they snort a couple more lines of coke. But yeah, like, I loved it. I thought it was a very unsettling film. My Black Phillip impression is a huge hit at home. Megan loves it when I say things in that voice right before bed, even though she's never watched The Witch. So
you are such a charmer, Scott.
Yeah. Well, listen, everybody knows that she exists because you heard her on a couple episodes. So it's not like I made her up. And we have a good back and forth on the episodes that she's on. So you know that she puts up with me. Here's the secret. I put a spell on her. I wake her up with kisses every morning.
Are you a Vavitch?
How beautiful she is. What?
Are you the Vavitch?
I'd be Vavarlock. Because that's what a male Vavitch is.
Can we write that movie?
No.
I'd watch the shit out of Vavarlock.
We would have to have Julian Sands be the main character. Anyway, and I make her coffee every morning. It's magic.
So you bribe her into love is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
That was 1986's From Beyond, as picked by Stephen Bay. Thank you, Stephen. As always, you can send us some suggestions at hmnpodcast@gmail.com. And you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/hmnpodcast. Also, while you're, throwing money to things, how about you go on Kickstarter and look up Portal Poppers with a Z and see if you would like to donate some money to them. Is there any other ways that you can listen to this show or follow us? I think Scott and Adam both have some suggestions.
Yeah. You can listen to us on SoundCloud.com/horror movie night. You can also listen to us on iTunes through the podcast app. You can rate, subscribe, review us. We love any of that business. You can also check us out on on Twitter. You can also check us out on Facebook. We have a super, super awesome Facebook group where Matt and Adam have been continuously shitposting and getting tons of likes on things that are tangentially related to our podcast and horror. So that's pretty good. And we're going to be at Monster Mania in March. So you only have to wait a good solid 2 months before the three of us do the we're going to be like a 3-man reading of The Craft where we go to Philadelphia, which is pretty close.
Since this is From Beyond, will we be a 3-man Lovecraft?
Yeah. Holy shit.
And I will say that we are like 90% on our way of definitely having a live event set up during that weekend as well. So that if you live anywhere near the Jersey, Philadelphia, Delaware area, you can come and eat some pizza and chill at a bar and watch us do what we do on this show live in front of an audience. So that could be fun or it could be a disaster. So either way, it's definitely going to be worth seeing live. And I think that's everything. I think we have gone through.
It's absolutely everything.
We have gone above and beyond. We've even repeated some things, I think. So this is just another day in the life of the podcast. We will be back next week with a movie that Adam picked, and we're going to definitely give him hell for his pick. That is a hint.
Nice.
So thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week.
Give him 5 minutes at least.
Yeah. Let's try. I'll try 2 more times.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm bored. Let's do it.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.